How to overcome your negative beliefs. Who are you measuring yourself against? Reasons you should feel compelled to achieve great things. Life can be tough and full of challenges. If you don't put in your full effort, you might end up feeling resentful and becoming a negative influence instead of a positive one. Life is short and can be tough, which might make some people want to stay safe and hidden. However, there's another way to look at it. Since we're all in this together, why not embrace adventure and take some risks? The truth is, the most exciting adventure there is. Some people choose their words carefully to escape accountability or to get benefits they don't deserve by using tricks. However, this method has a drawback. You might not be the best at determining what you truly need, and it can be simple to misinterpret what you desire. When you decide to express what you think is true, you need to let go of any control over what happens next. This may look scary, but it leads to exciting experiences. When you live honestly and behave in the right way, you have the power of reality supporting you. The responsibility to be truthful. What makes this a moral duty? When individuals hold back their abilities and fail to share what they can offer to the world, they frequently end up feeling cynical and resentful. This results in negative actions, not just not helping, but also trying to undermine those who are succeeding. Going past skepticism. A concerning trend in society is widespread cynicism, the idea that everything is bad, cannot get better, and that those who hope for improvement are unrealistic. Cynicism usually appears when innocence is lost. People begin their journey with a sense of innocence and hope, often unaware of the darkness that exists in the world and within themselves. When this innocence breaks, it often turns into skepticism. Cynicism can be seen as a step forward from naivety, since it means you see things more clearly. However, the problem arises when people remain in that cynical mindset, particularly when it combines with arrogance. The question is, after experiencing a tough situation and losing your innocence, how can you regain a sense of hope without becoming unaware again? The solution is to replace naivety with courage and to restore optimism as an important value. Confronting what's ahead. The future may bring disasters both in society and in our personal lives. What kind of attitude should we take on? If we face the future with bravery and belief, we can tackle it directly, trusting that we can handle what comes our way. Some individuals use fear to gain control by highlighting possible apocalyptic events. This is hard to argue against because the future can always bring about extreme situations. Everything can break down, has done so in the past, and could happen again. The issue isn't about whether possible apocalypses exist. They do. But rather what mindset we should have about them. Being naive isn't beneficial. Cynicism has its advantages, but it isn't the best approach and can increase the chances of potential disasters. Wisdom exists beyond cynicism, and it is not a sign of naivety, but rather a display of courage. People who are religious sometimes struggle to clarify how faith connects with courage. Faith, at its core, is about being ready to ride the wave, regardless of how large it may grow, trusting that we can tackle challenges together with a positive spirit. People who are cynical often don't realize how much they doubt their own cynicism. It's important to think about how being cynical can help someone dodge important responsibilities and chase after quick, easy pleasures instead. Why not question your own uncertainty? That's the starting point of wisdom. When people can't find fulfillment in the outside world, they often turn inward, creating what they lack in their external lives. If you can't get what you really want, you learn to stop wanting it. If you can't have what you desire, you learn to appreciate what is available to you. This spiritual retreat into a personal sanctuary occurs often. One person explained it like this: if your leg is hurt, you can attempt to heal it. If that doesn't work, then you remove it and say that wanting legs is a mistake. Handling failure. If plans don't work out, there are other choices available. One way involves thinking about revenge and getting lost in daydreams that make up for what we feel is missing, a road that can lead to madness. Another way to think about it is to consider what didn't go as planned or what might have been lacking in your strategy. This is like admitting mistakes and making up for them. Rather than thinking everyone is against me or the universe is out to get me, take a moment to consider what choices you could have made differently. Sometimes, things go wrong that are beyond your control, like getting sick or facing a tragedy, which can disrupt even the best laid plans. However, taking time to think about these experiences is still important. Christ told his followers that if they knock, the door will be opened. If they ask, they will get what they need. If they seek, they will discover what they are looking for. This isn't just wishful thinking. It understands how our thoughts function. When plans don't work out, it's important to ask yourself, what could I have done differently? This question should come from a true desire to find the answer. Wanting to understand can be tough, particularly when you've invested everything you have. Finding out about your own mistakes can be painful, especially when you feel connected to those mistakes. Being humble helps you recognize your mistakes and enables you to grow and become stronger as you move ahead. Finding a balance between being happy and having high standards. Happiness can be found in the space between what we expect and what actually happens. Individuals who set high standards may feel disappointed when they do not meet their expectations. Once you set an ideal, you start to measure yourself against it. If the difference between who you are now and who you want to be feels too difficult to handle, you should consider either adjusting your goals to be more realistic or boosting your belief in what you can achieve. Make your dragon smaller to a size that feels comfortable for you to get close to. Moving from where you are to perfection won't happen all at once. It will take small, gradual steps. Complete the hierarchy of progression with sufficient detail so that you can begin to make progress. The Matthew Principle. People who already have a lot will receive even more, while those who have very little will lose everything. This idea implies that getting ahead happens quickly, while falling behind can happen very fast. The positive aspect is that even very small upward movements, when kept up consistently, will quickly speed up. Understanding this can help lessen the discomfort of acknowledging your limitations. Starting from the beginning, like going to the gym when you're not in shape or trying something new, can be tough and a bit awkward at first. Accepting where you are right now helps you start moving forward. To fix weaknesses, you need to acknowledge your shortcomings, even if it feels uncomfortable. If the distance between you and your goals feels overwhelming, try to break it down into smaller, more achievable steps, and then start moving forward. Whom are you using as comparison? A lot of people make an important mistake when selecting their comparison group. Thanks to podcasts and videos, you can connect with some of the smartest people, top athletes, and great thinkers in the world. This makes it simple to see how you measure up to these outstanding individuals. However, that isn't the group you should be comparing to. Just the fact that you're thinking about deep topics and interesting ideas makes you different from many others. The issue is that your comparison group includes individuals who perform at an exceptionally high level. This sets up an incorrect benchmark. Is it reasonable for someone who has never made a podcast to compare themselves to hosts who have created thousands of episodes and dedicated countless hours to honing their skills? This unfair comparison results in feelings of sadness. The best way to compare yourself is to look at who you were yesterday. You are the best control group for yourself because you have your own special mix of skills, opportunities, challenges, and situations. It's not fair to compare yourself to others because you can't see the unique talents they have or the chances they've been given. Instead, consider if there is a way you could improve a little bit compared to how you were yesterday. This approach has a great benefit. The answer is usually yes. The misunderstanding of comparison. Your comparison can sometimes be misleading. When you feel jealous of someone, you're usually only seeing a small part of their life. The part that looks the best and is presented in a way that makes it seem perfect. You may not fully understand the challenges or hardships that could be present in their entire life. Wanting to be like a famous or successful person often means wanting all their good things while avoiding their challenges. This unrealistic wish can cause sadness because it is overly simple, filled with bitterness, and not based on reality. It's important to accept both the positive and the negative aspects of life. The cost of being brilliant. Being a high-level genius can often lead to some big challenges. Think about someone like Elon Musk, who once said his mind feels like a storm. He implied that many people might not actually want to be in his shoes, even with all his money and achievements. Hypercreativity is often linked to minds that operate at a faster pace, similar to hypomania. Some people think much faster than most, and they don't slow down. When things spiral out of control, it leads to mania, where a person has many excited plans, each described in just one sentence. People spend a lot of money to express their true selves. The person you look up to might be very creative, but they could also have demanding work hours, find it hard to quiet their mind, or deal with personal issues that others can't see. The truth serves as a remedy. One strong solution to these issues is being honest. When you tell lies and get used to lying, you can harm your natural instincts, and your gut feelings may start to mislead you. It's similar to distorting your sight. Over time, you may struggle to see clearly, and you could find yourself in risky situations. People who ignore reality will keep facing challenges and then blame the world for being unfair. In reality, they create these challenges for themselves by holding on to false beliefs that benefit them. Think about what occurs when individuals learn methods such as pickup artistry. They find scripts and routines that increase the chances of someone being attracted to them. However, in the process, they realize the significant difference between their true selves and the flashy persona they feel they need to adopt. This way of manipulating others is basically a type of planned behavior that shows a lack of empathy. Although there can be some benefits to using fake it till you make it strategies. If you take on these roles without truly embracing them, you are just being recognized for being insincere. When you practice manipulation, you start to become cynical. You begin to view the world in a more negative way. It's like saying that being cynical is a step up from being naive, but it's not where we want to end up. Intellectual humility. To solve these issues, we need to be open-minded and not cling too strongly to our beliefs. If you think you are always correct, that there's nothing new to learn from others, and that acknowledging you could be wrong would be too difficult, you end up causing the same issues. Get ready to ask questions that might seem silly. The least informed person in any room isn't the one who asks questions. It's the one who doesn't know, refuses to ask, and acts like they do. Your toughest critics can show you weaknesses in your character that you might not have been aware of. A harsher attack can uncover more possible hidden flaws. This doesn't mean looking for abuse, but it does mean being willing to learn, even from tough situations. When you speak honestly, stay open to learning, and focus on your own progress instead of comparing yourself to others, you build a strong base for real growth and significant success. Discovering thankfulness in difficult times. Lots of individuals hold on to feelings of anger or hurt from difficult times in their past, such as being bullied, feeling rejected, or going through other tough situations. When we think about it, it's usually these experiences that help create the good qualities we appreciate in ourselves. Think about how being alone as a child could have helped you learn to work on your own, or how facing rejection early on might have made you stronger. The abilities that help you now often come from challenges you faced before. We go through steps in how we deal with suffering. To start, it's important to acknowledge that you wouldn't be in your current position without those experiences. Next, appreciate what you've achieved even when faced with challenges. Next, let's focus on how to take negative experiences and turn them into positive outcomes that we can feel proud of. Ultimately, arriving at true appreciation for the pain itself. This is not about downplaying trauma or acting like difficulties are beneficial. It's about realizing that keeping faith and being thankful, even when times are tough, is important both in a practical sense and from a moral standpoint. The responsibility of having faith. When bad things occur, you can choose how to react. If you allow yourself to feel bitter, resentful, and hostile, you create a new layer of suffering on top of what you're already going through. This new suffering comes from bitterness and a lack of gratitude, which can quickly lead to feelings of wanting revenge. You should keep your faith, strive for better things, and treat others the way you would like to be treated, no matter what you have experienced. It might look like a tough challenge for those who have faced really hard times, But many individuals who have gone through such struggles have decided to keep believing in themselves and in the world around them. The challenges facing the mental health of young adults. Recent reports indicate that many young adults are facing significant mental health challenges. More than half of people say they feel like their lives lack meaning or purpose, and many are unsure about what to do next in their futures. Young adults report anxiety and depression rates that are twice as high as those of teenagers. What could be the reason for this happening? One issue is how we think about mental health today. It is often seen as something personal and internal, similar to an identity that you can describe in any way you choose. Mental health isn't just about you alone. Being alone makes it very hard to stay mentally healthy. Real mental health needs stable relationships that last a long time, dedication to family and community, taking on different levels of responsibilities that reach into society. These commitments help define who we are and give us a sense of direction, while also shielding us from feelings of anxiety. When you are part of important social groups, you consider not only your own needs but also your duties to those around you. The issue with concentrating on oneself. Being self-conscious is often linked to feeling negative emotions. When individuals mainly concentrate on their own needs, they often find themselves feeling unhappy. On the other hand, when they pay attention to their duties and connections with others, they frequently discover a sense of purpose and happiness. Today's identity games are causing feelings of anxiety and hopelessness in people. When we focus only on specific parts of our identity, such as sexuality or temporary wants, we lose sight of the bigger picture that makes life meaningful. The outcome leads to certain feelings of sadness and worry. Humans have developed ways of reproducing that require a lot of care and support for a long time. This indicates that our sexuality is naturally part of our relationships and not just about physical pleasure alone. When individuals view sexuality just as a transaction, they may start to show personality traits linked to psychopathy, narcissism, and other undesirable qualities. Finding meaning and purpose involves looking beyond ourselves. It's about being committed, taking responsibility, and truly connecting with other people. By taking these steps, we set up an environment that supports not only mental well-being, but also a fulfilling life. The impact of identity on modern society. The decrease in population is closely linked to our current understanding of identity. The current idea suggests, you can't define who I am. I understand my identity. I am who I feel I am. What does feel mean in this situation? How are you feeling right now? The belief that you can make everyone else feel the same way you do is similar to how a 2-year-old thinks. Your true identity isn't just in your thoughts. It's found in the connections and duties you have with the people around you. Being a professor at Harvard wasn't just an internal title. It involved a way of interacting with students. It wasn't just a thought in their mind. It was about the connection between how they saw themselves and how they behaved in the world. Real sources of happiness. The joy of being a successful podcaster isn't about your own self-image. It's about the many episodes you've created and the countless subscribers who appreciate your content. Your achievement is real, and achievement is real, and recognized in the world, not only in your thoughts. It's important to focus on being the person who does things correctly, instead of just appearing to do so. You can achieve a lot if you are ready to take responsibility without needing recognition. Many successful individuals have created amazing careers by choosing to pursue what they truly wanted without needing public acknowledgement for their efforts. Your true identity is made up of different layers that come from your relationships and the responsibilities you have. A professor is one role a person can have, but being a spouse or a parent is also an important role. Your identities are not just thoughts. They're deeply connected to your relationships with other people. It might seem surprising to say this today, but if you choose to be isolated and alone, without taking on any responsibilities and only chasing pleasure, you are likely to end up feeling unhappy and mentally unwell. These situations result in suffering. People often find it hard to grow up completely until they take on important responsibilities, like caring for a child. In these kinds of relationships, you discover important aspects of who you are. Having someone in your life who matters more than you is an essential aspect of good mental health. The subsidiary model of governance explains that individuals have various social roles that grow in importance. It starts with taking care of yourself, then moves to caring for a partner, followed by family, local community, and finally larger communities as you gain more skills and abilities. This shows a different option compared to both selfish pleasure-seeking and oppressive control. When you accept the right responsibilities, you rely less on outside authority. Modern therapeutic methods sometimes wrongly assume that the mind is completely found within a person's inner thoughts and feelings. This is not correct. Your mind isn't only located in your head. It's shared between you and the world around you. Mental health is not just about how your brain is organized inside your head. It's the connection between you as a person and the environment you live in. Your purpose is to connect with others and take on responsibilities. That's where true adventure can be found. Choosing to be self-centered and focused only on oneself can result in feeling lost and unhappy. Focusing mainly on yourself and your basic desires will likely lead to unhappiness. Being around people who hold you accountable might feel a bit awkward, but it can be really beneficial. People who are ready to have tough talks openly while still standing firm on key issues support your growth in ways that easier relationships simply cannot. Some people have a remarkable ability to be fair and strict at the same time. They can apply rules consistently and accurately, which is impressive. This approach can be risky, yet it holds great power. The criteria you apply to evaluate others will eventually turn into the criteria you use to evaluate yourself. Going past the culture war. A lot of the smartest people today have dedicated years to focusing on issues related to cultural conflicts. This shows a significant misuse of smart ideas and talents. Even well-known conservative platforms prefer to focus on philosophical, theological, or creative topics instead of getting involved in political conflicts. Politics is important, but it shouldn't be viewed as the highest form of intellectual conversation. The American motto is "One nation under God," to show that political discussions are less important than greater goals. Content creators often find themselves trying to balance discussing important issues while also making them easy for everyone to understand. This can lead to the temptation to focus on what gets attention from algorithms and to engage in less meaningful political discussions. This can result in a self-centered way of manipulating that harms both the creators and their audience. When we understand that our identity is mainly shaped by our relationships and responsibilities instead of just our feelings, we can start to create a stronger base for personal happiness and the well-being of society. Struggling with God, the most important questions about life. The significance of Israel. The term Israel means those who wrestle with God. This definition shows something important. The chosen people are those who engage in a struggle with God. But who struggles with God, all people do. What is the reason for this? Every step we take forward involves making a choice about what is right or wrong. Every action is based on moral decisions. God is not the actual moral choice, but the guiding force that helps us make the right moral choices, the essence of how we make moral decisions. What does God mean? Many people today often consider the main question to be about believing in God. However, that isn't the main problem. The basic question is, what do you mean when you say God? Medieval thinkers described God as the summum bonum, which means the totality of all that is good, or the very essence of goodness. If you say you don't believe in this idea, think about what that means. Do you think that some things are superior to others? If you agree, you recognize a level of goodness? Do all good things have something in common? If yes, you have agreed that good has a fundamental nature. How do you choose between two things that are both good, but in conflict with each other? You probably select what is best for everyone. If you can identify goods that are better or worse than others, do you also accept the idea of a highest good? The greatest good is what thinkers from the medieval period referred to as God. No matter if you use this term or not, you have a connection with this idea because you interact with it all the time. This relationship is something you cannot get away from. The counter-enlightenment. We are starting a movement that goes against the ideas of the Enlightenment. Many different fields have shown that the Enlightenment view of humanity is incorrect. Engineers who work with artificial intelligence, critics of postmodern literature, experts in psychology and the study of how we perceive things, scientists who study the brain and nervous system. Everyone has found that you can't navigate just by relying on facts alone. What is the reason for that? There are many facts, just like there are many things. In different ways those things can be combined. Relying only on facts won't help you get through life. It can lead to confusion. This describes the issue of feeling like life lacks meaning and purpose, which affects many people today. They are wandering in a vast area of information without any direction. We understand the different levels of importance. We arrange information in a way that shows its importance. When you look at the world, you can't see everything all at the same time. There are countless places your eyes can look at any time, but you choose to focus on some things more than others. When you talk to someone, you focus on their eyes to show that you value them. The white part of human eye is developed so that other people can see where we are looking, which helps them understand what we are focused on. A story explains a ranking of importance. Stories that captivate us need to be connected to reality in a detailed manner. Reality is not just what we see and experience in each moment. It also involves deeper patterns and ideas that go beyond the surface, the hyperreality of narrative. Mathematical ideas can sometimes feel more real than the actual things they come from. When you become skilled in mathematics, you gain control over the world around you. In the same way, narrative abstractions like archetypes can feel more real than the world we see around us. The biblical corpus is a story that feels more real than actual life. Similar to how a perfect example holds the core of all its kinds, biblical stories show patterns that go beyond individual cases. The concept of sacrifice. The tale of Cain and Abel shows two different ways of making sacrifices. What makes sacrifice so important? Humans have a relationship with the world that involves sacrifice. People understand that their identities and experiences stretch over time. This understanding means we should act in ways that are effective, not only today, but also for many years to come. Work is like giving something up now for something better later. The idea of a covenant in the Bible implies that there is an agreement in the world. If you make the right sacrifices, you will see rewards in return. This is not just a social agreement. It goes deeper, rooted in the very fabric of reality. Difference between false sacrifice and true sacrifice. A reputation for being moral that isn't deserved comes from pretending to make sacrifices. This shows up as performative empathy, where people display their good intentions publicly without actually doing the real work that supports it. If someone says, "Look at me," before showing their good qualities, it makes their claim to being good less trustworthy. This pattern shows up often in celebrity culture. Famous people who act like they care about others but are unkind when no one is watching. The more someone shows off their good deeds in public, the more we should question how they act in private. The more we should question how they act in private. One of the 10 Commandments, do not use God's name in vain, means more than just swearing. It means don't say you are inspired by a higher power when you are really just looking out for yourself. Performative compassion makes you look good morally, but it doesn't require you to actually do anything meaningful. The shallow pond of empathy. In today's world, people often focus on avoiding anything that feels uncomfortable right now, even if it means facing bigger problems later on. This is what we call the shallow pond of empathy. It means focusing on quick emotional relief instead of what helps us grow and thrive in the longer run. A real mother who cares for her child will sometimes create discomfort when it's needed. Kids don't seek endless freedom. They desire limits that allow them to enjoy the right kind of freedom. A person who genuinely loves another does not go to extreme lengths to prevent making them upset. That represents the devouring mother archetype. The importance of confronting challenges. Lots of people deal with life's pressures by not making decisions, thinking that being indecisive is a safe choice. There is no real indecision. It's simply a choice to not make a decision. It's simply a choice to not make a decision. The most burdensome things in life aren't made of iron or gold. They are the decisions we haven't made yet. Clinical experience indicates that when individuals confront their problems, even in small and manageable steps, they not only address specific issues, they grow to be more courageous in general. Exposure therapy doesn't reduce fear. It helps people become braver, which is much more beneficial. The answer from the Bible to the question, "Who would you be if you faced everything in front of you?" is straightforward. You would be a genuine child of God. This is not only a feeling related to religion, but also a practical reality. You can choose between two paths. Confront the truth, believing that something within you will react positively, or turn away from it, trusting that falsehoods will be enough. Love is the Michelangelo effect. In healthy relationships, both partners support each other in becoming the best versions of themselves. Just as Michelangelo recognized David inside a raw piece of marble, true love sees the untapped potential in someone else and helps to reveal it. This needs both help and decision-making. When you really love someone, you notice their true self, the brightness they can show to everyone, and you support that while trying to stop anything that might hold them back. Setting boundaries is not mean. It's a way to show you care. When you assist others in recognizing the boundaries, you empower them to manage their relationships effectively. Not establishing those boundaries can be a significant problem, making it difficult for people to navigate the world effectively. To reach paradise, you need to let go of what doesn't serve you. Anything that stops us from growing needs to be removed from our lives. This isn't about punishment. It's about change. The important step in becoming who we are meant to be. The joy of the journey. Understanding how meaning arises from the pursuit. Changing the way we think about happiness. Dopamine isn't just about chasing happiness. It's about finding joy in the chase itself. This important idea highlights a key aspect of how we think and what drives us. Imagine a situation where a family spends months planning a vacation, working through all the details of schedules, travel plans, and other arrangements. At last, they reach where they were going. On the balcony during the first night of this long-awaited holiday, the father thinks it would be wonderful to return here. Next year, even while he was supposed to be enjoying the destination, he was already thinking about the next trip. This is not unusual. It's simply how humans are designed. There isn't a last stop. Every stop is just the start of the next adventure. People experience two different types of rewards. A consummatory reward is something that stops a series of actions or behaviors. An orgasm marks the conclusion of a specific experience. It brings satisfaction, but it doesn't last long. Dopaminergic reward refers to the signs that show progress toward achieving a goal. It helps people stay engaged and focused, which is why medications like amphetamines can assist those with attention deficit disorders in concentrating on their goals. It's straightforward. To be fully involved, aim for the best goal you can achieve. What is the reason? The psychological reward from making progress is bigger when the goal is more important. Finding the right mix between what you want to achieve and what is realistic, this effort needs to be balanced. The goal should be important enough to inspire you, but it shouldn't be so difficult that you can't see any progress along the way. It's important to set high goals, but remember, you're not actually going to walk to the moon. It's important to have something very valuable that you can work towards step by step. One reason for building a connection with the highest good, or God, is that it sets a limit to our vision. This connection helps create a guide for seeking the best that could be. This vision needs to be broken down into smaller decisions while still keeping the overall goal in mind, which can be thought of as a distant ideal that seems to move further away as you get closer. A true vision of heaven is a perfect place that keeps improving. similar to a wonderful piece of music that is already amazing but keeps revealing even more beauty. The story of Abraham serves as a model. In the story from the Bible, Abraham starts off with a lot. He has wealth, comfort, and security. However, when he is invited to embark on an adventure at about 70 years old, he decides to leave behind his comfort and embrace the unknown. As he moves forward, he makes tougher sacrifices, each one bringing him nearer to becoming the father of nations. This story shows that reproduction involves more than just sex. Sex is only one part of what is needed. Abraham takes on a way of living that involves sacrifice, creating the best conditions for his descendants, for many generations to come. He gives up short-term comfort for a long-term vision, choosing a way of acting that is most effective over the longest time possible. Having trouble in a comfortable environment, in a world filled with comfort, where we have designed buildings just for lifting heavy objects and placing them back down because physical challenges are uncommon, where can people go to seek the challenges they need? The answer is honesty. Truth can be challenging and comes with a sense of adventure. When you decide to express what you truly believe, you need to release any expectations about the outcomes, which are uncertain. The uncertainty is exactly what turned it into an adventure. Not being able to predict what will happen next is the same as having an adventure. They are one and the same. If the outcomes were already decided, it wouldn't be an exciting journey. Just like you can't have courage without taking risks, you also can't have adventure without facing some uncertainty. The right way to position something. The main idea for orientation starts with establishing the right framework. Strive for the greatest goals you can think of, and always treat others the way you would like to be treated. This sets up the moral context. Next, focus on the day and its challenges while being honest with yourself. Having the right direction means looking up, and then it's just about following the truth, the principle that liberates people. Building up spiritual wealth. Nothing well done is insignificant. This idea relates to the biblical concept of accumulating treasure in heaven instead of focusing on material things that can wear out. Going through a disciplinary process to achieve something can give you a fresh perspective and help you develop new skills, even if you don't meet your initial goal. If you keep following this pattern, you'll gain different viewpoints and improve your skills over time. This is where you will find your real collection of valuable things. Women naturally grasp this concept when they see wealth as a sign of attractiveness. What they are actually evaluating is not the wealth itself, but the skills and abilities that it signifies. True competence is a valuable asset because a skilled person can take on any challenge, even turning a desert into a thriving place. The significance of physical training. Physical training is about more than just looking good. A person who regularly visits the gym shows that they are dependable, have self-control, and can push through challenges. Although it might appear to focus on material things, it actually reflects spiritual qualities like long-term commitment and the willingness to make sacrifices. Many people start by working on their physical health and then realize that it can lead to greater self-discipline. Many men go through this change in their late 20s or early 30s or early 30s. After chasing what society says is success, they find that these accomplishments don't bring them the deeper happiness they expected. This prompts a reconsideration. Do I really care about what I've been told to care about? This kind of questioning can lead to what some refer to as a quarter-life crisis, where men come to understand that they have been participating in a game that doesn't genuinely matter to them. The principle of the burning bush. This change is similar to the story of Moses meeting the burning bush. Moses was going about his usual activities when he noticed something interesting, a sparkle, that piqued his curiosity. This shows that, as we move through life, some opportunities attract our attention. We don't always choose to go after them by thinking it through. Instead, they appear as interesting options that grab our interest. The burning bush represents both being, as in the bush, which symbolizes the tree of life, and becoming, as seen in the fire that signifies transformation. As Moses got closer, he understood that he was on holy ground. The investigation was leading him further in. The lesson from this story is that as you go through life, Certain things will attract your attention. If you follow them with enough focus and dedication, they will change you. What really counts is not what draws you in, but that you follow it wholeheartedly and explore it fully wholeheartedly and explore it fully. When you fully commit to this journey, it can change an ordinary person into someone who stands up for freedom and fights against oppression. This powerful change can take many forms. You just need to follow it with enough belief and hard work. The benefits of monk mode. This powerful idea relates to monk mode, a time when you focus on yourself and work on becoming better, often by spending time alone. During this time, people concentrate on looking inward, recognizing their weaknesses, enhancing their physical and mental well-being, and developing healthier habits. This practice is similar to the religious tradition of confession. It involves looking at yourself, recognizing your shortcomings and stating them so you can start improving. This process may be difficult, but it helps you bring all your issues to light so you can tackle them one at a time. For a lot of individuals, particularly those who faced social challenges in their earlier years, university offers an ideal setting for this change to happen. Understanding what was stopping you and learning new social skills is really important. The risk of pretending to be someone you're not. In today's connected world, many people are making online identities, thoughtfully crafted images of themselves meant to gain acceptance. The risk arises when these created identities start to seem more genuine than a person's true self, causing individuals to reshape themselves to align with their online images. This is similar to the issue of writing essays that focus on what professors expect instead of expressing your genuine beliefs. Creating a fake identity to take advantage of the world will inevitably make that falsehood a part of who you are. It's not possible for anyone to effectively keep up two different versions of themselves. When you engage in dishonesty, you start to become dishonest. This is more than just believing your own lies. These falsehoods turn into accepted truths that change the way you see reality. Your soul, which is the way you experience the world, becomes tainted. Exploring the Luciferian intellect, many smart and thoughtful people often feel stuck in their own minds. They hold the intellect in high regard, treating it as something almost Luciferian, putting intelligence at the top of their values and thinking it should naturally result in success and acknowledgement. To overcome pride, it's important to focus on what we don't know instead of just fixating on what we do know. There is a significant difference between asking questions and providing answers, between looking for information and thinking deeply about it. Real wisdom comes from being humble, acknowledging and focusing on what you still need to learn. This explains why some of the best learners aren't necessarily traditional intellectuals, but rather those who actively seek out what they don't know, much like bloodhounds on a trail. The bravery to ask silly questions. To truly learn, it's important to be open to asking questions that might seem silly. This involves recognizing that you may not have all the answers, which is a key part of being humble and openly seeking assistance from others. Many people worry that asking questions will make them look foolish and cause embarrassment, but usually the result is quite the opposite. Many people in the audience often wonder about the same thing but may not feel brave enough to ask. The person asking is viewed as courageous rather than feeling ashamed. Being humble while striving for the best leads to real understanding. It's not just a thinking activity. It's a journey of the spirit that focuses on understanding and fixing our own lack of knowledge